Welcome into Massiverse Live, our Monday night live streams that we have started here. My name is Kyle Higgins. I am the writer and co-creator of Radiant Black. I am joined, as always, by Michael Busuttil, our brilliant editor and designer. Some might say Mr. Massiverse himself, but don't. You'll never hear it from his mouth.
I've never said it, and I won't say it.
And you want. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. We were live. We had to throw it back for some technical stuff, but we are good to go now. So, what did you just join into? You joined into Optimal Mayo. You joined into technical difficulties. That's, I think, the technical term for that.
I think that's the title of this stream, right? We do technical difficulties every Monday night.
It's on YouTube right now, right? Like, I'm not going to even try to check because I'll blow out my bandwidth or something, but are you going to check?
I'll check.
You'll check?
If someone did a comment, we must be live, right?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, I got an ad. I got an ad for Allianz Insurance. So is that part of it?
Actually, that's our new sponsor. Surprise!
Wow, that would be so cool. Can you imagine if we had sponsors? We could do bits for sponsors.
I mean, I can't imagine. We're not there yet, but one day, once we get the technical difficulties worked out.
Oh yeah, Hungry Jacks would be so mad if we had technical difficulties all through the ad.
Exactly. Crows just freaked me out because he said more Echo Michael to go with normal Michael, but it's actually no more Echo
Okay,
Michael.
we're live. So it's all good. Everything's working. We're all fixed.
We're good to go. Michael's fidelity should snap into place here at some point, we hope. We're just not sure when that some point is. But anyway, thank you everyone for bearing with us for tuning in here. As we get closer and closer into a more standardized version of the stream, which is exciting for us. It's something that we like doing on Monday nights. It's also something that we are going to be formalizing a little bit more. We've got some cool stuff to talk about today, including some updates that we have on the Black Market narrative shop front, the Radiant Black audiobook front. Spoiler alert, it's available for pre-order right now, but we'll get to that soon. As well as some stuff on the newsletter front. So the game plan actually for anyone tuning in tonight or catching this at a later time is that we're going to be doing our Monday night streams, Massiverse Live. That is now set up actually as a podcast on YouTube properly. Which changes the way the algorithm handles it, which is good for us. Then on Tuesday, hopefully mornings, the audio edition of the Monday night stream will go out via the Black Market newsletter as an audio edition of Massiverse Live as a proper podcast. Now, if you're subscribed to the newsletter, you won't. Don't worry, you're not going to get blown up with emails all the time for new episodes of Massiverse Live or any of the other stuff that we're coming up with. But you can opt into it. So we've set up on the newsletter right now. If you go to newsletter.blackmarket.la, which is the new domain that we set up, you actually can opt into the Massiverse Live section if you so choose. And then throughout the week, we're going to repurpose bits from the live stream and some of our segments that we're going to be doing here coming up into clips across social, etc. And the other part is with our new Discord, we actually have a channel that we're really excited to tell everyone about. It's in the live streams section of the Discord, I believe is the actual term. I'm pulling it up here. Yes, it's in the live segments section on the Discord. So if you go down to the community section on the Discord, live segments, that's where you can post for some of our kind of interactive segments that we're going to be doing, including our hot takes from the void, where you can share your spicy opinion about the Massiverse and have us react to them in real time. Of course, you can always put it in the comments of the stream, But sometimes it's a little hit and miss, if we are going to miss it or not. But even more importantly is if it's a real spicy hot take, we can answer off the cuff, but sometimes it's a little more fun if we give it some thought and we can come in with a whole proper kind of discussion about it all. And then we also have for cover of the week. So if you see a cover, it can be Massiverse related, but can also be Spider-Man. It could be Batman. It could be anything that you want. Throw a cover up and we'll pick a cover or at least one cover for every stream to do like a live discussion and breakdown of, from both a creator's lens as well as a designer and editor's lens in Michael's case. And then our third section is just for general questions. So if you want to throw in questions, especially stuff that might take more than a 5-second off the cuff answer, like put them in there. Like Michael and I will find ones that we really want to cover, and those will become topics for upcoming episodes or segments of upcoming episodes of Massiverse Live. So once again, we're trying to make this something where interactivity is a central component of it. It's very important to both Michael and myself. Community is a very big deal for us, and especially running a not only creator-owned superhero universe, but a truly independent creator-owned superhero universe. We can't do this without you all. So the support across platforms is incredible. It's also something that as we work increasingly to raise general awareness about Radiant Black, about the Massiverse, about all the different crazy stuff that we do in this line, sharing this stuff, telling your friends, joining in the Discord, like it's all additive and helpful. And definitely make sure you're subscribed in the newsletter, because over the coming months, we're going to be rolling out more and more stuff in the newsletter, both from an access standpoint as well as original stories and exclusive stuff that will be there. And it's something that in this media landscape, there's only one real viable way forward, and it's to build your own kind of everything. And so that's what we're trying to do here. So long walk to tonight's episode of Massiverse Live. For those of you listening to the audio edition, welcome, or after the fact, welcome. We've done this for a couple months now, but this will be the first episode that's actually a part of like the proper feed through the newsletter as well as the YouTube podcast feature. We are going to talk tonight about what we're doing right now, like actively working on. We're going to show off some new covers. We're going to show off some early artwork for Radiant Black number 40. And we are going to do a little craft process discussion of some Massiverse covers and show off some early layouts, in particular for Massive Edition Book 2, so you can see what went into this for us. And as we decided on this cover for our second hardcover here. Looks like we've got a question to kick things off, though. Actually, Michael, Owens
Great.
Reviews is asking, so the Radiant Black and White one-shot, is it going to be $3.99 or $4.99? The cover art says $3.99, but Lunar Distribution has it listed at $4.99. So it is going to be $4.99. It was originally mocked up on the cover as $3.99. And that's what we've shown publicly, but we did catch it. Actually, our amazing production artist, Wes at Image was able to, he caught it and was updating it for $4.99.
Yeah, this was we went back and forth a little bit. The original idea of the book, we didn't have the script. So it was, 28 black and white pages, and it would have made sense as a $3.99 book. We added, I think we basically doubled the page count, more or less. And so we had to add the extra $1, and it just didn't get caught on every one of the JPEGs of the cover that went out, unfortunately. Yeah.
And that does happen from time to time. So one other question here up front before we jump into what we're working on and everything else. Today it was announced that the month of March will feature Invincible team-up covers. And if you saw the news and saw the covers revealed, you may have noticed that there was no Radiant Black or Rogue Sun or Infernal Girl Red cover in there. It's not because we hate Invincible, and it's not because Image hates us. It is simply, unfortunately, it's a byproduct of the fact that as we've had a few things run late, I don't think we originally, Michael, had anything solicited for March beyond a trade paperback. And so in the worst irony of ironies, the email that went out for the team up covers only went to teams that have books in March. So we actually didn't know that there were Invincible team up covers happening until I think a week ago is when I found out, just like randomly. A fellow creator happened to mention it to me. So super bummed on our side, because I would have killed to do something like that, but unfortunately we just the luck of the draw as far as when we took a month out of solicits meant that we weren't in the running or in the mix to really be able to do one. So it's unfortunate, but in the future, I'm sure we'll have another chance down the line, knock on wood, to do something cool with Invincible. Okay. Did you see that those all went out, Michael? The Invincible?
I did. I haven't had a chance to actually look at what everyone's done yet. I saw that they went up, but it's been a busy morning this morning, so I haven't had a chance to look at them. Are they good? I'm sure they're good.
The ones I've seen are good for sure. Yeah, the ones I've seen look awesome. It just makes me more jealous that we didn't get to do one. But next time, I guess Invincible will need to come back now. I mean, we just need to tell Robert it has to come back for a 5th season, because we need to be able to do a cover.
That's how they make that decision, right? They wait and check with us first.
I'm pretty sure that it all does boil down to that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll send an email.
All right. So, Michael, do you want to run through real quick the lay of the land on what we've been up to, what we are specifically doing right now this week as we speak?
Yeah, lots of things. I think we talked about this last week, but Radiant Black, issue 40 is just about done. We're just about ready to sort of wrap that up and move on. We have issue 41 and 42 and 43 all in various stages of production at the moment. I think the cover for 43 just went out, so we can say that it's our little one shot. We're checking back in with Nathan and seeing how he's doing after a while issue. So we've been talking about this one for a long time, because we have been keeping track of what he might have been up to, behind the scenes while he hasn't been in Radiant Black. But now is the time that we have had to sort of get going on what's in that issue and what's going on. Over on Rogue Sun, I mean, it's pretty much the same. We've got, I think it's issue 33 is just about done, and we've got issue sort of 34, 35 in progress. We're also in a period at the moment of Rogue Sun development where we're talking about sort of like the next arc or two beyond that, because we're coming up on that stuff. And that means, big planning, big swings, big ideas, deciding what to lock in and what to start talking about covers for and that sort of stuff. Inferno Go Red is still coming out. We have been shipping Kickstarter packages. Single issues are coming out. Issue 3 of book 2 is out next week. But I have had all of those files delivered for a couple of months, so that one's kind of been off my plate a little bit. And we're also talking about, we've been in Radiant Black audiobook work at the moment. This week we've been not even just making the audiobook, but finalizing a bunch of decisions about price point and sales and the deluxe edition, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit later on. And also Kyle's been working still on getting the last little bits recorded and getting that whole thing edited and done.
Mm-hmm.
And some secret stuff.
We like secret stuff. Secret stuff's pretty cool.
It's better when it becomes public stuff, but it has to start as secret stuff first.
It does. I think that's actually that's specifically how it works, actually. Yeah, and it is funny when you think about like how sometimes, I don't know if this happens to you, Michael, sometimes I very much lose track of like what we've announced and what we haven't announced, because there are a lot of there are a lot of secret things. I don't think I've actually blown anything from like a spoiler standpoint, but it's come close a few times.
We've had a couple of things where, like, you know, like a cover might have gone live before we wanted or something like that. Like the timing didn't quite work out. But I don't think
Yeah.
we've ever like accidentally said the name of a project we were working on that people don't know about yet. I think we've kept it pretty locked down.
Yes, I think that's fair. Okay. So I'm just about set up here with these videos here. I'm trying to get your fidelity to be better, Michael.
I'm just not Fidelius enough.
You're not Fidelius enough. Let's see here. All right, let's try it. If that's any better, we'll see. Okay. Well, speaking of Radiant Black, 30, what is this? 43. The return of Nathan. We've got that here for us. So let me pull that up in the meantime.
You're going to show the cover?
That's exactly what I'm going to show. Let me just get my preview here. Actually, well, I can't show that. I actually almost just did the thing, Michael.
I was going to say there's probably some stuff in the folder that you're opening right now that is incredibly dangerous.
Well, there's that, but there's also the matter of
the other stuff you've got on your screen at the moment.
Yeah, there's some of that too.
It's tricky because the thing that sort of you don't think about until you're in it is that anything that you're actively working on is something that people don't know about yet in some capacity, right? Like, obviously people know that we're doing issue 43, but you would, like, if Kyle had the script document open on his laptop, we wouldn't want to show you that because it's way too early. Right. So anything that we have open and active is something that we have to really think about not showing. And once it's ready for other people to be ready to think about, it kind of like has gone into a folder and has become not problem anymore.
Not problem. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. I think I've got the right things cropped out for now.
Cool.
We hope.
I'm glad that we opened this with a spiel about how we've never accidentally revealed anything too early, so that when you now blow a secret of some kind, everybody can be like, "Oh, that was foreshadowing."
Yeah, something like that. Okay, so what we have here is the cover to 43. We're gonna have to scroll down it because of it just doesn't fit on screen super nice. But this is all set in Los Angeles, as Michael said up front. And for the audio crowd, we're showing off Daniel Bayless's very, very, very nice cover for issue number 43. It features Nathan Burnett, who we have not seen in a minute, who is outside of Grauman's Chinese Theater in Hollywood. And it looks like there's a star on the Walk of Fame for Radia from Cowl. And some really, really, I'll say dicey cosplayers in the background for Blaze and Arclight. And as someone who worked across the street from Grauman's for like 3 years, I can tell you this is absolutely what it's like. And every time we would leave the sound studio to go get lunch at, like, I don't even remember the little restaurants that were there anymore. You would always end up like having lunch across the street from or like sitting next to like a dude in a really funky Elmo costume, or like a very, very dirty Spider-Man. And it happens way more often than you think. So mad props to everyone who still goes out as street performers in Hollywood. But yeah, so this is where we've chosen to depict the return of Nathan, as we actually have not seen him since the end of Catalyst War, Michael, at all. Not in the book, not even when he was on the phone with Marshall, we didn't actually see him. Talk a little bit about the creative choices that we made there, because it was a conversation behind the scenes about how much we were going to see Nathan before he actually returned to the book.
Yeah, I mean, sort of fundamentally, it just boils down to, like, he had to be gone long enough for you to really miss him. And I think, right, like there was a world where, especially, we knew he wasn't going to be in the first arc, probably, right? But there was a world where this issue happened at the end of the first arc. Like, we would be back for sort of 5 or 6 issues, and then you'd see Nathan again. And it just so happened, like, we changed that first arc quite a bit. I think we've talked about, like, we sort of, this second arc is a lot more like what the first arc was going to be. And then we pushed it out a little bit to do some more build up and setup. And what that meant is that it just kind of didn't make sense to see Nathan until now. It's like now is the time that sort of Marshall's in his good, he's sort of got his stuff together, although we'll show you some pages for some upcoming issues later. Things aren't going super great.
Yeah.
It felt like the right time to do a check-in and be like, okay, we're gonna, by the end of this arc, you're gonna have a good idea of what's going on with Marshall and where he's at. Let's go to LA and see what's going on with Nathan.
So Adam McGuire chimes in the chat. Oh, the subreddit misses him. True. Also, yeah. Hold on. I need to address this real quick before we move on. From MHS Punk, Kyle Higgins calling out the fursuit community. No, just for the record, I'm not calling anyone out. I am just talking about my experience eating across. Like,
Elmo's not a furry. That's two totally different things.
Well, I think we just found a clip for social. Is Elmo a furry?
No, that'll be absolutely not. Elmo's a Muppet. No. They're completely different.
Look, let me tell you, this legally distinct not Elmo, Michael, is a lot of things, but he was not a Muppet. My personal experience was that I think that Oscar the Grouch might have smelled better than the individual Elmo that I was eating in the vicinity of. That's all I'm saying. Who,
to be clear, is not the official Jim Henson Company Elmo. He's a separate Elmo.
It's a very separate Elmo, yeah. And yes, JMCT, I am afraid of the furries, yes. And I love the furries, but yes, I'm afraid of Elmo. There we go. That's the clip. I'm afraid of Elmo.
Not to get us back on track, Kyle, I haven't asked Daniel Bayless this. Is that him on the left?
You know, I've never actually seen Daniel in person.
Interesting.
I don't know what he looks like, so it could be, but I'm actually not sure.
I think I've seen him in profile pictures. We've just certainly never met. I'll have to ask him separately and we can talk about it.
Yeah, there we go. Owen's Reviews, co-sign that. I love furries. Kyle Higgins 2026. How about Kyle Higgins forever? Let's just lock it in. If I had a soundboard of some of the sports podcasts that I love where they lock it in, let's lock it in, I'd hit it right now. Lock it in.
Great. Kyle loves furries. We've got that on the record.
Kyle loves furries, yeah. So speaking of Radiant Black, while we're in this space, before we touch on the audiobook, and I have a little video to play people tonight. Michael, you haven't seen this one. It's short. Don't worry. It's not spoiling too much. But why don't we take a look at some early pages here from issue number 40, which we're getting ready to send to the printer. Now, you're seeing here in issue 43, clearly Nathan is up to some things, and look, it's sunny. I don't know why he's wearing a jacket in that LA temperature, but look, style knows no degrees. And on the flip side, though, there's Marshall and what he's up to. And based on the end of issue 39, as the Franklin group has enacted their raids, Mariposa and a whole host of people have been captured by the government. Things have gone better for Marshall. I think that's probably a fair way to put this. So let's take a look at page 1 here. Oh, how cool. It showed it full. I don't even have to zoom in. Love it. So this is by, actually, Michael, is this page is by Paulo dos Santos, I believe?
I don't remember the split exactly. It might be.
I think
I can't see it at the moment. So,
yeah. Radiant Platinum. Bro got the fit, and he's sweating. He is. But it has nothing to do with the temperature. Okay, so yes, this is Paulo dos Santos, who, or I think it's Dos Santos. Paulo dos Santos, who is joining us. He's a friend of Marcelo's. He did a couple pages in issue number 39. He's back in issue 40, and he's splitting the issue with Marcelo. Marcelo's done the layouts on everything. It's so cool because Paulo's style is pretty similar to Marcelo's in a lot of ways. Actually, more similar than Eduardo's. Actually, I would argue. But as we see here, the hole in the window post Jaeger is still not repaired. Somehow that living room in the apartment is even more sad since Eva moved to Paris for love.
She took all the stuff, right?
She took all the stuff, yeah. But, this opening may look somewhat familiar if you remember the opening to the Rebuild era, issue number 31, with Marshall on the internet, surrounded by all sorts of comments. Michael, this layout really does look like it could lend itself to a whole bunch of shit posting and hate on the internet. Will we be seeing any of that in this issue?
Doug, if people knew how many hours I've spent over the last 3 days recreating various forms of social media posts, they will have a pretty good idea once they see a leaded preview of this page, which will probably be out next week or the week after. Yeah, man, there's a lot of space to fill, and boy, we'll talk more about that once people have had the chance to see it, I think.
Yeah, another huge shout out to Joe Clark, who populated quite a few. He's really good at writing internet shit.
I need you all to know that I asked Joe to write a page of posts, and Joe wrote a page of posts, and then I sent Joe the message, "Hey bud, are you okay?"
Yeah, that about tracks. But we'll see here. There's whatever's happening on the internet and the television off screen. That last panel shows Marshall's definitely got some opinions boiling up here, which brings us to page 3 of this opening, where we see the return of our favorite former Franklin Group leader, Mr. Kieran himself, in a really cool gay bar in Chicago. And as he speaks with another individual, that individual points out that someone seems to be staring at Kieran, and that someone is the most emo, brooding version of Marshall that we've seen yet. I won't give you any more context beyond that about what this conversation looks like and where it heads, but this is what kicks off issue 40. And I guess if I had to tease anything without spoiling, I would say, and Michael, tell me if you think I'm on point or not. There's a side of Marshall that we saw in the Catalyst War, both in our timeline and in the other timeline. And in particular, that other timeline, in the events and the actions that Marshall took, have weighed heavy on this timeline's Marshall as he tries to become the type of Radiant Black that the city and the world not only need, but in his mind deserve. And I think that has also meant keeping some of those aspects of his personality, keeping them a little bit more in check. How long do you think that'll last for, Michael?
Oh, at least 3 to 4 more pages, possibly even 5 or 6.
Yeah, I think that's. Is it 5? I don't think it lasts 5.
It might not even be 5, to be honest. No, it kicks off pretty quick after this.
Oh,
this is
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go on. No, you go on.
Well, no, I just wanted to highlight. I missed it. We had a super chat from Dennis Hoffman. Kyle's lighting is incredible. No one is all good. Thank you, Dennis. Are you talking about no one, the helmet behind me? You might be. I'm not sure. I missed if there was conversation before that, but yeah. So how many more pages, Michael? Five.
No, this is the one where things get worse.
Where things get
Last
worse,
issue
yes.
was the one where things get bad, and this is the one where things get worse.
Yes. So that's what issue number 40 is looking like of Radiant Black. We've got a choice. Let's leave it to the chat here. We can either show some more preview pages and get through Inferno Girl Red Book to chapter 3 that comes out next week. Or we could keep it on Radiant Black, and I could tease a little bit more of the audiobook with a pretty cool exclusive clip of Will Friedle in the voice session. If you want Inferno Girl Red, we're going to do both. If you want IGR first, throw a 1 in the chat. If you want to see Will Friedle possibly break down on camera, throw a 2 up there. And I'm going to prep the
which
files.
One do you want?
Which one?
102, 102, 102, 102.
Okay. All right. What are we getting? 1. Okay. 2. Ooh, it's pretty split.
Cool. That's helpful.
Right. A lot of 2s. A lot of 2s.
Why don't we keep rolling with Radiant Black and go to the audiobook?
All right, that sounds good. All right, let me get this prepped for us here. Okay. All right, then what we're going to do is we're going to do media source. Actually, so you can hear it, Michael, we're going to do it a different way.
I'd love to be able to hear it. That would be really helpful for me, and because it's an audiobook clip.
It is, actually. So that works out, right?
So, Kyle, while you get that set up, why don't I tell people about the big audiobook news from this week?
Yes, please do.
Yeah, so Radiant Black, the audiobook, Volume 1, which we've been talking about for a very long time now, is available to pre-order. Finally, we are coming up on the release date, and we have got it up. So if you go to shop.blackmarket.la, that should almost certainly take you to our Black Market Narrative store, where you will be able to find, under the audiobook section, the regular edition and the deluxe edition. So before I tell you a bit more about the deluxe edition, I should say this will be available on audio and Apple Play and Google Books and all of the places that audiobooks go up. But we can't submit it to those places until it is fully complete and ready to go, which we're still finishing off. So we are able to put it up on our store because we've got complete control over that, and you can pre-order it there. It'll hopefully go up in all those other places over the coming week and a half. So we've got the regular audiobook, and we've also got the deluxe edition. So the deluxe edition is exclusive to the Black Market store. It's not going to be on all those other services. You can only get it from us. It's the same audiobook, so there's no difference in the story that you get at all, but it's got some extra bonuses. So, Kyle, you and I are going to record a full commentary track on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You and I are going to have a chat with Will Friedle and Ryder Strong, which is very exciting because I will finally get to meet them.
Mm-hmm.
Either you or I are going to have a chat with Sam Ewing, the composer for Radiant Black, who's doing some new stuff for us for the audiobook.
Yep.
You've got another clip, like a sort of quite a long clip of you and Will in the booth, sort of a behind the scenes. And we're also going to attach the complete audiobook script and a collector's booklet. So like a CD booklet, if you're like me and 35 years old or older, you'll remember CDs were like MP3s, but they were on a disc, and they used to come with blue books in them. So we're doing one of those with just some like liner notes, some behind the scenes photography, some commentary, that sort of stuff. So all of that is available exclusively at shop.blackmarket.la in the collector's edition. Otherwise, the regular edition will be available everywhere.
So that's a perfect segue, actually, because I also want to flag that while the standard version is everywhere, we are also selling a version of the standard version through our Black Market shop as well. It's DRM free. Just for those who care about this sort of thing, like love Audible, love iBooks, love Google Play, love all of the audiobook platforms, but just like a behind the scenes bit for everybody, like as creators, we make very, very little off those platforms. When you buy it direct from us, if you are cool handling your own M4B file, which is just an audiobook file, it opens natively in Apple Books. There are other audiobook platforms for Android, etc. And by the way, it also opens on VLC on anything on your desktop. You own the file forever. We'll also send an AAC with it. If you're cool working with that stuff, it supports us like times 100 compared to what the Audible, iBooks, etc. The Audible, iBooks, etc. versions do. For the premium edition, in addition to everything that Michael just laid out, there are some other things that we're going to be packaging with it. One of those things I've got a little sneak preview of here, which was we're going to have a 25-minute roughly video that takes you inside the recording session, one of the recording sessions that Will Friedle and I did. And this isn't like a greatest hits or anything like that. It is literally a raw 25-minute segment where you will watch me direct Will, our back and forth, going through different takes. Like, if you're into process stuff and behind the scenes stuff, like, it's pretty cool. And I gotta say, like, I've known Will a long time. I think Will is one of the most talented performers I have ever been around, bar none. Watching what Will did with this audiobook is something that I actually wish I would have filmed everything. It's so unbelievably impressive. And the clip that I pulled for us here right now, I think probably shows some of that range. So let's go to that now. And you should be able to hear this, Michael.
Dead.
Convince yourself. Could you hear that, Michael?
No, but that's fine.
He's not.
Oh, I know why. Hold on, I can fix it. This one's actually easy. All right, Michael, can you hear this?
He's not dead.
Convince yourself.
He's not dead.
Yes or no? No? Nothing? Oh, man. All right.
That's all right. Let everyone else hear it, and I'll listen to it later.
All right, deal. Okay. Let me just go ahead and put this through that then. All right.
He's not dead.
Convince yourself.
He's not dead. Let me do that again.
One more.
Yeah. He's not dead.
One more.
He's not dead.
Bigger.
He's not dead. Nathan. Come on, man. This isn't it. It goddamn can't be. Please. I swear, if you fix this, if you save him, it'll be different. I'll be better, okay? He's my best friend. I swear. If you do this, I'll go to church. I'll get it together. Please. He's my best friend. You can't take him. You can't take him too.
Oh, man. I wish you could have heard it, Michael, because this is the section when...
I bet it was great.
This is the section when Marshall is pleading for Nathan to not die. And you can see through, like, even the freeze frame here on Will's face. Like, I've known actors who can cry on command, but I watched Will get into this space out of nowhere, like like that, and then he stayed in it. He stayed in that space for a solid. I mean, we were working on this bit of the scene for like, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes or so. Don't worry, the clip that we'll be releasing will not be 25 minutes of Will crying, I promise.
That's good. That would be, I mean, I don't know that I could take that. That's a long time to watch a guy cry, you know?
That you have to actually pay extra for that version.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Actually, I did figure out, I can play it again. I figured out how to get it so you can hear it if you want to react to it. Because
that'll be fun, yeah.
It's cool because like no one has heard this, and now we should be back.
Look at that. He's back. Will was so sad that it killed Kyle and then brought him back, just like in the book.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry about that, everybody.
Life. That's what they say.
I know, right? Man, this is a very serious. Sorry, everybody. There we go. Okay, I think we're back. Well, that's the last time I tried to play video like that.
From now on, we are pictures only.
We're a pictures only podcast. You know what the plus side is, though, Michael? Your fidelity is actually much better now.
Look at that. We fixed the fidelity, gang. Gotta love it. Love having big fidelity.
It's all about that big fidelity energy. All right. Should we get back into some other pages from Infernal Girl Red, show off some of that, and we can move on to our covers?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. Cool. All right. So let me pull this up here. And we will go to this. Let me just change this capture mode. And we are back with, how about some Infernal Girl Red?
Let's do it.
Which will be dropping issue number 3 from book 2. Will be dropping, I believe, next week.
Yep.
That's what it
sounds
like.
The final part of book 2.
Final part of book 2. These are the opening pages here of that. Art by the incredible Erica D'Urso and Igor Monti. Owen's review says we can now see Michael's tiredness in a full 60 frames per second, Michael.
Oh, I did not know that you couldn't work that out before. I didn't know that I needed to be in HD for that to be obvious.
Who is this gentleman? And why is Infernal Girl Red in a house with him?
That's weird, because the last time we saw her, she was rocketed out into space. But now she's in a guy's house. What's going on there?
That is kind of weird.
It's kind of weird. You'd almost have to read the book to find out what's going on.
That Mac Groom is a tricky one.
He sure is.
And a little more from issue 3 here. Or chapter 3. Are we calling it chapter 3? Is that our official?
Yeah, I think it's book 2, chapter 3. Yes.
Book 2, chapter 3. Okay. Okay, so that'll be out next week. The big thing that I wanted to... Oh, actually, before we move on from Infernal Girl Red, so Jeffrey here says, got my Kickstarter copy, loved it. That is fantastic to hear. We love hearing that. As Michael said earlier, the Kickstarters have been going out. They're going in waves. There's a lot. There's a lot of them. So you'll be getting yours very soon here if you've not gotten it already. But thank you, Jeffrey. So glad you enjoyed it. From Ezim, is it weird that I still buy the individual issues for IGR even though I backed it on a Kickstarter? No, let me tell you, my friend, it is not weird at all. We actually love that. I love that. Big Fidelity, Busuttil loves that.
No, we're not making that something.
We are all about extra support of the Massiverse because it makes living our lives slightly easier in a very trying time. So, no, we appreciate that. Okay. CJ writes stuff. Of all the ways I expected Infernal Girl Red issue 3 to start, this isn't one of them, yet I love it. Fantastic. We love hearing that. We love subverting expectations. One of our top 4 favorite things. Okay. Now, speaking of expectations, I don't know that anyone was quite expecting when we announced it, Michael, that we were going to be continuing with a second volume of Across the Massiveverse, which is our $9.99 sampler trade paperback that we put out a few years ago now. Was it a year ago? 2 years ago?
Who can say?
But we are back. We are doing a second one. And we've got a cover for that. When we originally solicited the trade paperback, the cover was not done yet, but we do have it fully finished now by Francesco Manna and Igor Monti once again. And we've got that for you all right here today. Michael, what can you tell the people about Volume 2 and the characters that are featured on this cover?
Yeah, well, I can tell you that it'll be out in about a month, towards the end of February. And as you can probably guess from the title, from the cover, it includes the first issues of Radiant Red, Radiant Pink, No One, and Cowl. The first Cowl number one.
Yeah.
So they are all here. It is basically sort of the half of the Massiveverse that we didn't get to in Volume 1. Here they are.
Mm-hmm. As far as like prompts go, because this will be a good segue into our cover discussion. You know, a cover like this is always tricky because they're essentially hero shots of characters, which can be very lackluster as far as a cover goes. A hero shot of a character does not make for a good cover. That said, there are plenty of really good covers that are hero shots of characters. What, in your mind, Michael, makes for a cover like this where you are just trying to showcase our heroes in the coolest way possible, while still really enticing people that there's more story beyond just like this pinup shot?
Yeah, I think we're looking for two things. So the first thing that was really in the brief to Francesco was we want it to be, I'm not looking for the cover for book 1 again, but with different characters in the different positions. Like I don't want it to feel like a homage cover where it's just an identical piece every time. But we're going to have these two covers probably next to each other. They'll be next to each other on bookshelves, on like our stands at conventions. They're going to be next to each other in bookshops if they're sorted alphabetically. So what I want is like, if you're looking at both of them, they feel like they're of a piece with one another. So like the same sort of tone and vibe. And the other thing is looking for ways to convey hints and clues and messages in these sorts of covers as to who these characters are and what their deal is. So we get No One, and instead of him doing like a big, like Superman pose, he's doing a much more Batman, like dropping out of the sky with his cape fluttering behind him thing. In Radiant Pink is literally halfway into a portal. You see that and you're like, I don't know who this is. She's got portal stuff going on. And so trying to convey to people what their deal is in one image so that they go, I'm interested, show me more.
Yeah. And I do think that this cover absolutely achieves that. One of the things that I always find interesting is like, we have so many amazing artists and collaborators that we work with on a regular basis. And then there are people who come in in a pinch for us. And Francesco Manna is one of those guys who, he drew our first Supermassive. He did some pages in our Shift story, in our second Shift story. He also has done some of our coolest covers for, especially like those first 3 hero shots of Infernal Girl Red, Radiant Black, and Rogue Sun. And it's just one of those little, I don't know, like quirks of comics that I find interesting. How someone can not work on something for long stretches of time, but every time they come in and do something, it feels like they never left. And especially when he's colored by Igor, very much feels like that for me. So Optimal Mayo is asking, though, why did they put the fisters in the front like that?
Oh, that's easy. Because if they were in the back, they'd be fisting someone else. There's your clip for socials, baby.
Boom. Owens reviews, I'd love to see Francesco come back to do some interior work and covers for the Massiverse. We would too. It just it's a matter of schedule most of the time. So okay. Should we then, Michael, get to some of these cover breakdown discussions that we're going to do today?
Yeah, do we want to do a sister segment?
It is a segment. It's a seggy. Is that a thing?
No, absolutely not. No.
Okay. Well, in that case, then it's not a segment. All right. Okay. We've got it loaded here. Okay. So the thing we want to talk about today, actually, or tonight, specifically related to craft, circles around the covers for our Massive Edition hardcovers. And this first hardcover that came out last year, or I guess actually technically the year before, at the end of 2024, this was a cover that actually took us quite a while to find. There were tons and tons of layouts that we did. We'll show those off at some point as well, just not tonight because we don't have them handy. But ultimately, this was a case where we were trying to come up with a cover image that felt iconic.
Folks, he's been sucked back to the Shadow Realm again. Oh, no, he's back.
Me?
Yep, you're back.
I've been here the whole time.
Oh, maybe I was sucked to the Shadow Realm.
You might have been sucked to the Shadow Realm. That's true. Okay, so the thing with this cover for this first Massive Edition hardcover was that we knew that this book was going to encompass the first 12 issues of Radiant Black. It was also going to have loads and loads of back matter. As someone who grew up in the era of special feature DVDs and Blu-rays, I love things like this. I love premium editions, and I love when premium editions have the design to go along with them so that they feel premium. Michael, when we started this particular cover design for the hardcover and everything that needed to be, what do you remember about the process for us as we were trying to wrangle something that felt iconic, but also not just a hero shot that would say something about what is going on in the book, but also would lend itself to some really strong design elements and branding as we see here?
Yeah, I mean, for these covers, the big thing when we were doing the first one was the awareness of, like, we don't know that we're going to do a second one, but we hope that we're going to do a second one. We very much like to do a second one. And that means having to think right now about some sort of design that is in some way continuable. Like the second one will have to match the first one. How do we design something that makes it happen? And especially even more so because this is a shared universe, if we end up doing an equivalent Rogue Sun hardcover, a Big Inferno Go Red, or the Dead Lucky, a No One, all of the other books that we've done in our line, how do we design something that will work and will make them all feel like a series, but will also really, like, each book has its own tone and its own creative team and its own vibe, and we don't want to betray that for a shared trade dress that doesn't feel right for each one. Mm-hmm. And so basically what we did was I settled on this, like, okay, if there's a big text area up the top, then we can style that text area differently depending on the book. Maybe on Rogue Sun it'll be black or orange, or maybe it'll be like a torn strip of paper or something. But if we isolate the information up there, what that will mean is that the rest of the image will be free, and the creative teams on those books will be able to play however they want to play the best way. And then it was a matter of going to Marcelo and being like, okay, so here's a sort of a rough template, because we haven't locked in the full complete set of design elements yet.
Yep.
But this is the sort of space that you will need to fill and what the other stuff around it is going to look like. Let's talk about some ideas. And so we did, and we went through a bunch of like really even just conceptual ideas. Like, is it just going to be Marcelo doing his like best style version of an illustration of one scene that is inside this book? And
Right.
if it is that, what scene is it? What's the scene in Radiant Black 1 to 12 that feels the most Radiant Black? That's a tough conversation. What is the answer? We never worked it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, okay, if we're not going to do that, is it just the volume 1 cover? Like, is it something like that volume 1 cover that's become like a pretty iconic Radiant Black image? Do we use that again? And no, it should be a new thing. Like, we want it to really clearly convey that it's a separate product. It's not just volume 1, the trade paperback big. It needs a separate cover. So what about like a cool hero shot that still does all the things we talked about earlier, where it like gets across the tone and vibe and character of the book? And luckily, what that means is that once you've had all those conversations, when it's time to do the second volume, Marcelo did like one sketch and we gave one note, and then he drew the finished cover, more or less. Once you've had all those conversations, once they take a long time, but every Radiant Black hardcover from here on out, we know what we're doing because we have decisions made.
And here is that second cover here, the final version, dressed. This, as Michael just said, encapsulates issues number 13 through 24, along with the Shift one-shot stories that we did. Those are all properly slotted in between the corresponding issues of 13 through 15. You said that Marcelo did one sketch, but he actually did, I think, 3, because I've got them all here. Why don't
I don't even remember that.
I think so, or maybe it's 2. Let's see here.
It's 2, and one's after the note we gave.
Yes. Okay. Which one you want to start with? This one, or do you want to start with the?
I can't see the ones you're bringing up, so why don't we start with the first one?
Okay, so we've got. So this is hardcover 2 final, Michael. So it's got red, Mecha Red, 001, pink, and yellow.
Yep.
And what was your feeling when this came in? And I can talk about mine.
So we had sort of, I think we had like 2 notes. And I think you can talk about the sort of the inclusion of the radiance, I think, because that I think was a note that we both had. The note that I gave was a really straightforward one, which was the pose that Radiant Black is doing, just a little too close to the pose that he's doing on the cover of book 1. And my worry was, if we commit to the same pose here, to me, that means you are committing to that same pose on every one moving forward. Like, he has to be sort of big, arms outstretched. And that means no opportunity to change it. You're going to be drawing the same thing every one. You don't want to set a pattern if you don't want a pattern. So my big note was like, let's keep him sort of the same size and position on the cover, but maybe we try him doing something a little different so that the vibe is he'll be doing something different on all of them.
Yeah. The thing that came up for me then was from a roster standpoint as well, because as you said before, we want to find something that really encompasses the core of the volume. Taking into consideration that like volume 2 here is actually trade paperbacks 3 and 4. So you've got the Rogues Gallery, you've got all of the buildup to the Catalyst War. You do have the origin of Radiant Yellow. You have the short film issue. Like there's a lot in there, and that's before the robots even start coming in the later issues of this volume. Looking at this cover, it felt like this is where it gets into the territory for me of the distinction between a pinup and a cover. This would be, even taking out of the equation what you just said, Michael, about like locking yourself into a single pose. Even if we did want to do that, right? This feels more hero shot pinup to me. And I guess the best way I can articulate it is because nothing about the poses or the usage of the characters on the cover feels like it's telling you anything about what the book is about. And it's a real fine line, I know, because when you look at, I'm going to pull it up here, the final version, right? You could argue very similar. It's like, well, what is this really telling us here? Shift and Sheer and Excel and Mecha and Doppler. And it's like, well, that actually is what it's telling you. It's Radiant Black bursting at us, and these people behind him are new characters that are going to be foils in this issue. When we look at this layout, though, with red, Mecha Red, 001, pink, and yellow, like I said, great team-up shot, but it's not really... It needs to do... I think a team-up shot needs to do more than just be a team-up shot, especially for a hardcover, collection like this one.
I think the thing that you and I really talked about is, like, some of these guys are kind of only barely in this volume. Like, volume 3 is more or less solo Radiant Black, and Radiant Yellow shows up a little at the end. And even in the 2 issues of that arc he's in, not his solo standalone issue, he transforms, but he doesn't like fight. He's just around using his powers to help Marshall. And then in volume 4, Radiant Yellow is around a bit, but again, he's much more in like a sort of advisory capacity. The other 2 show up in one of the issues to help fight a giant robot. But if you're doing a sort of head count across the 12 plus issues that are in this book, most of these guys are in it for like 1 to 2 issues. They're in like 12 pages of the book. And so what you don't want is for someone to pick this up and be like, wow, those guys are cool. Who are they? And have that question not be answered by the book that they've picked up.
Right. I think the other thing too is like looking at this cover, and we're getting some pushback in chat. Radiant Platinum says, Kyle, I hear you. I do, but that thing is beautiful and I need a finished product. It is beautiful. But looking at this and looking at even just the composition, which Marcelo is a master at, it does feel a little stacked to me as well. The way that you create a dynamic image is really about how you contrast large and small. And in this case, I feel like a lot of the characters are all the same size. Like Radiant Black is kind of our foreground character, but he's smaller than Yellow and Pink, which creates a weird depth kind of situation unless you accommodate for it in color and put everyone that's not Radiant Black like kind of on a layer and knock it back so it pushes backwards and the Radiant Black character comes forwards. And spot gloss can help do that, and black levels and things like that. And that's great. But if you look at the Radiant Red right behind Radiant Black, it creates like a weird depth kind of situation. Now, granted, this is just a layout. Like Marcelo would have, he would have remedied this in the final and made it work, I have no doubt. But just from a concept standpoint, when you're looking at layouts, like those are the things that are in mind for me. Like Radiant Red being behind Radiant Black, but they're kind of essentially the same size it ends up breaking your illusion of depth as well. So it's actually kind of like it's not it's not firing on all cylinders in that way. So we gave the note from this, and we ended up with this version, which was Radiant Black coming at us in a pose very similar to what became the final. Oops, sorry. I'm just going to show them side by side. So this was the final, and there's this layout here. And as you can see, the Radiant Black positioning is very close to where we ended up with the final. But the characters in this are still the Radiant characters. So yellow, pink, red, and 001. Now, compositionally, I like this quite a bit more. It feels it feels very refined. It feels balanced. But again, we still have this issue of the characters may not be the best representation of what the promise of the premise, what the volume is actually going to be diving into. But from here, Marcelo just updated the characters and took the piece to the finish. And I think it landed in a pretty amazing spot.
Yeah, Kyle, are you showing the final cover right now?
I've got the final one up, yeah.
Great. I don't know if people probably haven't zoomed in. When you're zoomed out, the sort of like gemstone sort of fractal effect that he's doing on the background with the colors, when you're really zoomed out, it kind of just feels like, oh, it's just a little detail he's done. If you really zoom in and look at the ways that he uses it to like shift the line work and adjust the colors on different sections, it was something that I really noticed when I'm painting a spot gloss in, and you suddenly realize like, oh, that whole section of Mecha's eye is shifted down like half an inch offset to make that whole chunk feel like it's in a slightly different spot because it's being refracted by the light. He's doing crazy work on these that I don't think people will notice if they don't really zoom in and have a look at what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, you can really see it. Yeah, the mecha, I'm actually zoomed in right now. I'll zoom in even further. You can really see it on that mecha eye. Yeah, and when I say like you can knock something out or knock something back, what I mean by that is this is actually a really good example, where your shadows, your black levels, for example, are not true black. Everything's lifted, and it ends up creating. If you're not careful, it can kill your depth. But if you do it right, it will create a layering effect and actually it'll separate elements in a really nice way.
Like Kyle, if you scroll up a little on that image to Radiant Black's right knee, I think that makes it really obvious. Like you can see there's a whole chunk of the border that is just offset.
Yep.
And like you don't zooming out, that looks like just a fully normal thing. And it's not until you zoom in and you're sitting there on your trackpad with a little paintbrush in Photoshop going like, draw the outline of Radiant Black, that you really go, wow, none of this is it's such an incredible bit of work, this cover. I'm so proud of Marcelo's work on it.
Oh, yeah, dog. Also, trackpad, man, we got to get you a mouse or a Wacom or something, right?
I've got one, but at this point, I'm sort of I've trained myself. Every spot gloss we've ever done has been done on the trackpad of my laptop. This is just how I work now.
You and Kelly both. Kelly illustrates in vector on a trackpad, and I don't understand.
There is something. There's something really tactile about it. It's like there's no. I am the mouse. I'm using my hand to gesture.
Kyle Higgins loves furries. 2026. I am the mouse. And you can't fist somebody else is probably, those might be stream highlights right now.
Great. We're going to get canceled. I'm so excited.
Ooh, excuse me. That's what happens when you're just stuck at your desk working on the audiobook around the clock.
Oh, can you imagine?
Good thing I'm not narrating it or anything.
Can you imagine if I said we're going to get canceled and then Kyle just died live on the stream?
Honestly, I'd have less problems. So
yeah, you would. It would double my problems.
Yeah, I don't know who takes over when I die. Like, I guess Joe.
You don't
right?
you don't like that I've thought about it. We've talked about this.
Yeah, no, we have actually. Yeah, do you want to tell the folks, Michael, that you have like a full contingency plan for like?
It's not like a full contingency plan. I think it's really sensible. We have a whole empire of production work that rests on Kyle. And if we hadn't thought about what happens if Kyle gets hit by a bus tomorrow, then we wouldn't be doing our jobs properly.
Right.
I'm just being responsible.
That definitely doesn't creep me out or anything whatsoever. No.
I hope it doesn't happen.
Well, you and me both. Although, like I said, I'd have way less problems. So I mean, I'm not saying never.
Okay, well, please don't get... The problem is now if you get hit by a bus tomorrow, everyone's going to be like, oh, Kyle intentionally got hit by a bus tomorrow.
They're going to think you sent it.
I can't do that. I don't have that sort of power.
Oh, man. Okay. So that's kind of all we have on the cover front. There were some stuff that I had wanted to do tonight that might have to wait till next week because I want to prep these segments properly. In the meantime, why don't we take some questions here? Let me see if I can get my doc up, see if there's anything else we wanted to... Oh, okay, yeah. So the segments that I wanted to do, I want to do a hot take segment, and I wanted to do a how wrong was I, and possibly a Kyle pitches Michael segment. I don't know that we're prepared for any of those three, though, unfortunately, this evening. For the hot takes, that's going to be something where we're going to source those takes from the Discord. So unless there are some comments in there already, which I don't think there... Oh, there are, actually. All right, let's see. Let's see what they are, Michael. Okay. From Mayo... I think Radiant Black has a much higher power ceiling than Rogue Sun, but Dylan is more focused, skillful, and has clear physical strength advantage. Sorry. The hot take is Radiant Black would lose to Rogue Sun. And
in like a full one-on-one brawl draw?
Yeah. And so this is from the user Mayo in the Black Market Discord here. And their justification is... I think Radiant Black has a much higher power ceiling than Rogue Sun, but Dylan is more focused, skillful, and has clear physical strength advantage. And as they stand in their current runs, Dylan would beat Marshall, and it wouldn't really be that close. Okay, there's a lot in there.
First of all, I feel like we have to preface this by the person who would win is the person who the writer would decide would win, and that's how it works, and power scaling isn't real. But
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Is Ryan writing this or am I writing this? Because those are going to be two very different endings.
I have thoughts.
You want to go first?
Radiant Black's real weapon is the gravity grab, right? If you don't get the jump on him and you aren't set up with proper anti-radiant gear, he can just hold you a meter away and there's nothing you can do about it, right? Like that's an unbeatable strategy, especially in a one-on-one, like a bunch of people. I don't know that he could do that to, but 1v1, that's a pretty good route that he could go down. I think Marshall was a shithead like Dylan when he was in high school. I think we've seen a little bit of that, but I think he's like 10 or 15 years separated from that and has probably lost a little bit of that edge. I think Dylan would fight dirtier than current Marshall does. The real advantage, I think, to me, not to Batman it, is going to be prep time, right? Marshall does not have a lot of allies. He's got a lot of friends, but like in terms of guys who can like get him stuff, there's not a lot of like tech and gear and stuff that he can really soup himself up with. Whereas Dylan, if he has like a day to get ready, could be coming into this with like a Doctor Strange cloak and a magic sword and like, you know, Wonder Woman's lasso on his belt, and like he can go get a bunch of stuff that I think really gives him quite an edge in that regard. I do think, not just because they are protagonists of our series, I think to write it fairly, you'd be writing it close. I don't think it's like one guy just kills the other guy straight dead. I think it's a real knockdown, drag out brawl.
Well, here's the fundamental question. Can you have fire? Can you have Rogues on fire without oxygen? Because
now that's a good point. That's interesting. How does magical fire work?
I mean, we've seen the Rogues on fire extinguish at the end of issue 1, Rogues on issue 1, when Marcus dies. If you're Radiant Black and you manipulate gravity, you could manipulate a situation for no oxygen.
A classic Silver Surfer Human Torch type deal. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was also thinking, like, if you gravity... Yeah, I guess gravity doesn't have any specific effect on oxygen, other than if you just, like, fly him into space. The fire may not work. But I feel like Ryan would just tell us, well, that's not how it works, and the magical fire will stay magical, right?
I mean, that feels... I mean, I was going to say that feels right to me, but what that feels to me is, hey, we should really write an issue of Rogue Sun where someone's underwater. Because we should work out how that works, because I don't know how that works.
Yeah, Radiant Platinum says just ring up Ryan. Yeah, but then I'd have to have Ryan yell at me about how the Rogue Sun would beat Radiant Black, and I don't have time for that tonight. We're already having technical difficulties. Okay. Yeah, I guess the part that I would push back on even from a power scaling standpoint, the idea that Dylan is like more skilled and physically stronger. Like, I mean, Marshall's not, first of all, he stopped eating dairy, as we saw in Radiant Black 32. I don't think he's not athletic. I also think that he's like 30, 31, and Dylan's like 17. I don't think Dylan's like running rings around Marshall. I was going to say, I actually almost feel, I think the opposite of the point, which is, I think if you imagine a like fully trained, fully powered one-on-one, I feel like the magic actually gives Dylan the edge in terms of ceiling. And I think a like fully capable Dylan could just like send Marshall to the Shadow Realm or whatever, like from a distance, and it's not a problem. But I think Dylan is very much still, he didn't know he could summon a weapon until like 6 weeks ago, right? Like, right.
He's very much still learning the limits of his powers. Whereas I think Marshall has fewer powers to learn, but probably has a better grasp on what they are and how he can use them to his advantage.
Right. I think that's fair. I like that. All right, we've got another hot take here from the Void, courtesy of Anomaly 616. I think Radiant Pink is the weakest of the Radiant side of the Massiverse. Not to say it's bad, but in comparison to Radiant Black and Radiant Red, it's the weakest. Oh, you're talking about the book. Oh, well, I'm not going to weigh in on that. I think it's different, like, and that was by design. Like, we specifically asked Melissa and Megan to write something for a different audience. And there was a period of time where we were thinking about, if the market could sustain it, the idea that each one of these characters could actually go and do miniseries, like their own books could be designed for different genres and different demographics. And Radiant Red was kind of our, it was our Breaking Bad crime, kind of like grounded suburban crime kind of series. In a funny way, it ends up being kind of closer, and this is intentional, it ends up being closer to what the types of stories that Nathan likes to write are. And then Radiant Pink could be a big, cosmic adventure. It's younger skewing. It's an LGBTQ series. It's also got a giant talking cat named Kitty Kitty. I don't know how that you can go wrong with Kitty Kitty. We need more Kitty Kitties, Michael. I think that's actually the other takeaway.
We've had a conversation about this very recently. Was that on a private phone call and not a public stream? Did we talk to Joe about this? Is that what that was, or was that a stream?
No. That was a stream. Okay. It was a stream that I pitched you, Alf heading to Planet Kitty Kitty.
I remember. Yeah. It's just the problem is, Kyle, that you and I have so many phone calls that I can't remember which ones we have where people are listening.
Yeah. No, it's a common problem. We all suffer from it.
Yeah, I think sort of just to continue and finish up on what you were saying there, Kyle, like I do a lot of conventions. I know you do a lot of conventions. Every single person who comes up expresses interest in a different book. And to me, that is success rather than failure. Like, I would much rather you have one book in the Massiveverse, whatever book that is, and we have a much broader market of people who are interested in something than a much smaller group of people who are interested in everything. And like, I get a lot of people who come up and like the book that they pick up of all the books is The Dead Lucky. And they go like, that is the book for me. And that's great. That's the goal. That's why we did that book that way and why it's not more like the other books. So, I certainly think there are people who everybody's got one book that they like the least, but everybody's also got one book that they like the most. And I'm glad those are different books.
Totally. And like over the last few years, it's been interesting to see exactly what you just said, Michael. The number of people that find Radiant Black because of Radiant Pink is not insignificant. Like, yep. Melissa has a different demographic of readers and audience, and as does Megan. And what was really cool is like I've done signings with them at San Diego, and the number of people that came to try the book because of them, but also because of the subject matter, and then found Radiant Black afterwards. Like, that makes me incredibly proud, because one of our things when we talk about accessibility so often, one of the things that's important to me is like those miniseries should feel like you could read the origin of the character and then jump into this adventure with them. And you don't have to ever read Radiant Black or Radiant Red or Rogue Sun or any of those. You could just read it. And I think it works that way. And I think Radiant Red, same thing. You can read that. And that's why we included the character's origin one shot in both of those miniseries, On the back of that, though, there are a bunch of people in the chat here that are specifically hassling us about where's our Radiant Yellow miniseries, Michael. Where's
There's no Radiant
Yellow mini?
We've talked about this, but let's get it, since this is the first podcast one, let's get it on the record, right?
Yeah.
We did Radiant Red, which was sort of alongside like our first Supermassive and that first sort of 6 months or so. We took a bit of a break, and then we did Radiant Pink, which came out sort of roughly alongside like year 2 and that sort of thing. And then it was the period where maybe we would have done a Radiant Yellow miniseries, but Radiant Yellow was being a big significant character as part of the Catalyst War, and it didn't make sense to spin him off into another thing while that was happening. And then he lost his powers and he lost the Radiant. And then, so it didn't, he can't have his own miniseries right now because he doesn't have any powers. And then another nice lady got the Radiant, and then she died. Spoilers for Radiant Black 36. So she can't be Radiant Yellow and have her own miniseries about what's going on there, because that made sense for us to do as an issue of Radiant Black. And now the Yellow Radiant is somewhere. something's happening with it.
Do we know where it is, Michael?
Do we know where it is? Yeah, absolutely. We know where it is. Do they know where it is? No, I don't think so.
I was fishing there. I don't know where it is.
I hope you know where it is, because we've talked about it so many times.
Oh, okay, that's fair. That's true. I know where it is. Okay, but both really great hot takes. That's what we want. We want the spiciest takes. So we appreciate everyone putting them out there. The other thing that is in the Discord right now is for the cover of the week section. So I'll cover these here. Also from courtesy of Anomaly, we've got a cover here by I believe it's from Javier Rodriguez.
It's going to be good then.
It's Martian Manhunter number 8.
Ooh, I don't know if I've seen number 8.
It's a good one. Yeah, that's right. You can't see this in...
I'm bringing up the Discord. It's fine. I've got it.
Okay, cool. Sorry. We will get this ironed out at some point here.
No, we won't. Yeah, that's sick. That's great.
Isn't that
I love
great?
it. I mean, they're all great, right? This is the 8th great cover in a row on that book.
Yeah. I mean, this is actually another... in a weird way, this is actually really kind of cool and fitting with the Radiant Black one we were looking at. Like, the offset... I mean, this is he's rendering it in a different style than Marcelo approached it with, but you do have some of that kind of like chronal offset or chronal aberration happening here, but in solid colors as opposed to Marcelo's very rendered versions of it. I love it. Super cool.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah, if you guys aren't reading Absolute Martian Manhunter, I don't want to say it's my favorite of the Absolute books, because I quite like them all, but it's definitely the one that is taking really some wild formalist swings in the same way that Kyle and I really love to do. And I really appreciate it in that way. Like, Dennis Camp is swinging for the fences. It's a great book. Yeah.
And then from Izum, we have the cover for Miles Morales Spider-Man number 42. Is this David Marquez? I think it's a David Marquez
that looks like
cover.
His signature. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, do you have it up? Oh, you're in the Discord, right?
I'm in the Discord.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this one real quick, Michael.
So this is, I think, the last issue of this series for now.
Okay.
And I think, is this a homage to another cover? I feel like it reminds me of another cover that's not coming to mind immediately.
I mean, if it were, normally they would sign it after so-and-so, but it looks like it's Dave Marquez plus, is it Ram coloring it?
But it could be a homage to his own cover. I might be thinking of another cover from this run, possibly. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I think the like the rendering, the colors are all fantastic. It's an interesting composition choice. There's so much negative space in the middle, and the characters are cropped. It's interesting. I don't know that I would have taken the cover this direction if it were me art directing it or the editor on it, but I don't dislike it. It's just in particular its marriage, the art with the trade dress don't feel like it doesn't feel like it's doing it any favors personally. Like that 42, how it's formatted in there. Yeah, we probably don't want to do too much of a deep dive on design decisions, do we, Michael?
I mean, yeah, long and complicated. I will say, like, I remember the very first thing that I really noticed Marcelo doing as a colorist on Self-Made was this kind of like really heavy rim lighting. It's surprisingly tricky to do. Like, you know, it's kind of technically it's like just put white around the edge, you know, like it doesn't seem like it would be hard, but achieving it in a way that feels strong and realistic is quite difficult. And so I like that really impresses me seeing these guys pull that off this way. That feels like I'm looking at Spider-Man backlit by light. Like it feels
totally
good and realistic.
Absolutely. And I like Peter Parker with a beard. I'm pro
I
beard.
also like Peter Parker with a beard. I agree.
Oh, super cool. Well, thank you guys for posting those up. And like we said up top, our Black Market Discord, there is a link for it in the show notes here. But in particular, the live segments section, we are soliciting spicy hot takes on the Massiverse, covers of the week. And if we come up with any other interactive segments, I'm sure we will. We'll include those in the Discord as well as a channel. And a big shout out and thank you to one of our moderators, JMCT, who's in the chat right now as well, for setting that up on the Discord for us. Okay. I think we should probably just do some questions and maybe call it there, Michael. And I promise next week I'll have segments ready to I'll have so many amazingly awful story ideas to pitch you, and then some also amazing ones mixed in there, and you just won't know which is which because they're all going to be crazy.
Exciting.
All right. Anybody who's got any questions, we'll do a few minutes here of some Q&A at the end. Throw them in the chat, and we will get to as many as we can. Okay.
A lot of speculation about Nathan being the new Radiant Yellow. That definitely seems like a possibility. Who can say?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just admitted that I don't know where the Yellow Radiant is, so I don't think I can really weigh in here.
No, but I do. I know everything. I'm across all the... Well, I know everything up until I get a script where something's different, and then I have to go, hey, what are we doing?
That does happen sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, fully it does happen.
Okay, from Crows. Hey, Crows. Since there is a love of old school DVD / Blu-ray special edition features here, what would you consider the top tier of DVD special features on a release, besides Lord of the Rings Extended, of course? Ooh, that's a great question.
I've got one. I've got my favorite audio commentary ever. Are you ready?
Yeah.
It's Arnold Schwarzenegger and I think Jim Cameron on Terminator 2. And basically it's just Arnold Schwarzenegger watching the movie and going like, I shot the guy. And enjoying the experience of watching Terminator 2. He's not providing any particular insight or behind the scenes knowledge. He's just having a blast with Terminator 2, which I think is how I feel about Terminator 2. So it's a lot of fun.
That's a good one. I've heard that track. I think the Lord of the Rings ones are the gold standard. I think the King Kong ones are also incredibly good. I think probably though my favorite, I'll give two of them. The first is actually the Star Wars DVDs that they put out the first time they put out the original trilogy on DVD, and it had that incredible Empire of Dreams documentary on it. So go with that. But the one that came to mind rather quickly, actually, is the Blade Runner Final Cut.
Yep.
Because that set not only has the Final Cut edition, well, Final Cut, I guess for now, although he hasn't messed with it since, but it has the Final Cut of the original Blade Runner that they put out for this remaster, and all sorts of updates and things like that. But it also includes every other version of the movie. So it includes the theatrical cut with the voiceover where Harrison Ford clearly did not want to be doing voiceover. It also includes the work print. I'm missing another cut in there, I think. And it has this incredible, 6 or 7 part docu-series on the film and making of the film and all the different aspects of the production and post-production, everything else. And I revisit it every couple years. It's just a really, really well put together set. So I'll go with that. The second we get off off stream, I'm gonna think of like 8 more. But we'll go with that one for now.
One other slightly more serious one than the Arnold Schwarzenegger one. The Hot Fuzz DVD in particular, I think Shaun of the Dead is like that as well. And I don't know if I ever saw the special features on World's End or not, but like I think there's 4 commentaries by like, you know, one's Edgar Wright, one's Pagan Frost, one's like the cast or crew or something, along with a bunch of other like, here's how we made the movie stuff that is interesting because like it's sort of, you know, it's a big expensive comedy, but it's like a sort of small movie that they shot in like an English village. It's just a slightly different vibe to the like Lord of the Rings, you know, like here's the 2 guys who were in the room for 18 months hand making all the chainmail. It's a little more like, here's how we made this movie on a slightly different scale and shape that I find quite interesting.
I also love that you just started the sentence something more serious and then cited Hot Fuzz as that
more serious
endeavor.
As an answer, not more serious as a film.
Oh, okay. James CT says not the 6'7", Kyle. Is that a Gen Z thing?
He doesn't know what that is. You gotta know he doesn't know what that is. He's not that old, but he's so old in spirit. Kyle doesn't know what a 6'7" is.
By the way, I know that no one knows what a 6'7" is.
Do you mean no one? No, we can't get into that. We can't start doing who's on first.
No.
We're about to finish the thing.
All right. From Common Sense, what name would you give to Radiant Yellow's power? Time duplication?
I think it's a sort of, it's like a future sight, but it's not really a future sight because it's weird and divergent, right? Like he doesn't just see what's going to happen. He sees possibilities of things that might happen.
I do think it's more of a probability driven power set. I guess technically it is kind of like a multiversal timeline thing of perceiving out different probabilities. But I think that when you take a look at issue number, whatever issue we just did with Nance, I think that does a really good job of
36. It's
36 of showing off what those powers can, like how they really work. So, okay. One more here from Ball Nubby. It's not a question, but thank you for the stream. It's nice to be able to talk about this amazing universe and have something to watch whilst in the hospital. Can't wait for the next stream. Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in, and so sorry to hear you're in the hospital. Yeah. I hope you're doing okay. Yeah. Okay. I think, Michael, that's a good spot to leave it because it's 8:00 over here. I have not eaten yet. Kelly just got back from Australia. She's not eaten, and I have salmon to cook for us here. So we're gonna call it there. Once again, thank you everyone who tuned in tonight, who bared with us. I don't know if that's the proper usage of the term. Bared with us through some technical issues. We're still figuring out how to make this all work on a regular basis. And like we said up top, the Radiant Black audiobook, it's available to pre-order right now. You can head to shop.blackmarket.la and make sure you're signed up for our newsletter.blackmarket.la. And until next week, when I come in with some of the spiciest pitches that you've heard yet, Michael, it's on my list for the week. Mm-hmm. Until then, thanks everybody for stopping in, and stay radiant.